Good afternoon and welcome to a Stockton Unified School District Regular Board Meeting. Call to meeting to order. Yvette will read the language on the public contents. Back to you, Yvette.
Thank you, Madam President. In order to help assure compliance with the Brown Act and in order to make our board meetings more effective and more efficient, trustees will speak only when recognized, and trustees who speak on a topic other than the agenda item currently under consideration will be out of order. Board meeting protocols. The safety and decorum of the school board meetings are important to Stockton Unified School District and community. SUSD promotes the public's right to free speech, and we want to make sure that all community members, parents, and students are able to participate in a safe environment. We want to ensure all community members have a seat during the board meeting. We will have the maximum number of chairs allowed per fire code, 132. We ask that members of the public do not stand along the side of the walls or block the hallway. Anyone standing up during the meeting will be asked to take a seat. If they do not comply, they will be asked to leave. Any accredited news media representative who is standing will have a press credential clearly visible. The podium is positioned in front of the first row of chairs. No one other than the person who is speaking may be at the podium except for a guardian, administrator, or translator. For safety, people may not line up behind the speaker to wait their turn. We want to give the person at the podium the time and respect they deserve. Each speaker will be allowed 3 minutes. Attendees are not allowed to enter this area past the podium where board members are sitting. No profanity or obscenity. During the board meeting, if there is a disruption, the board president or designee will give a verbal warning to the person or persons causing the disruption. If the disruption continues after the verbal warning, the individual or individuals will be asked to leave or be removed from the premises for the remainder of the board meeting. After the meeting is concluded, we ask community to clear the lobby area in a respectful manner. Thank you. Back to you, Madam President.
Thank you, Yvette. Item 1.2, roll call taken by Yvette. Please start with the student representing first. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam President. Student Representative Vanessa Morales.
Present.
President Cecilia Mendez.
Present.
Vice President Zulueta.
Present.
Clerk Rico.
Present.
Trustee Maria Mendez.
Present.
Trustee Avalar.
Present.
Trustee McBrien.
Scott McBrien here.
Trustee Flores.
Trustee Flores present.
Thank you. Back to you, Madam President.
Thank you, Yvette. Now we go to item 1.3, oral suggestion. Christina will announce the number of public comments. Back to you, Christina.
Thank you, Madam President. Individual speakers shall be allowed 3 minutes to address the board. The board shall limit the total time for public input on each item to 20 minutes. Madam President, we currently have 2 speakers. The first speaker is Mr. DeTuan Bunton, speaking on item 1.3.
Good evening, Madam President, Vice President Zulueta, trustees of the board. My name is DeTuan Bunton. I have served as the Director of Classified Personnel for the past 4 years within the Human Resources Department. Today, I'm here to just simply clear my name. For item 2.4, you'll be considering disciplinary action against me for charges that have been completely padded against me by Nancy Lane. I'm here this evening because basically the charges are built up against me in the fact that she alleges that I attempted to go around her for the approval of compensation that was not approved to me. I stand before you as I sent an email to Interim Superintendent Dr. Miller that I unequivocally deny going around Nancy Lane trying to make any attempts to gain access to compensation that was not due to me. As you may be aware, Claudia Moreno was laid off as the Director of Labor Relations on July 1 of 2021. Nancy Lane directed me to take over those duties. Although Claudia Moreno was no longer here, those duties remained. So I had done those duties for over 16 months. In addition to that, this past September, Nancy Lane sent an email to all of our labor partners, letting them know that I am now taking over negotiations. In the Director of Classified Personnel job description, it simply states that I am to participate in negotiations, not lead. Leading and participating, in my opinion, are two big separate things, and that's a tall task to ask. So I was essentially doing the work of two directors in the Human Resources Department. In addition to that, the charges state that I attempted to gain additional compensation to a colleague of mine by the name of Eva Binder. Nancy Lane gave verbal approval to alter a PA for Eva Binder. In addition to being doing the work for two directors, my team was short-staffed as well. The classified department had allocated 4 analysts. We only had 2 analysts for the better part of the last 2 years. And so if you may or may not be aware, our department received numerous RFIs, numerous demands for necessarily relevant information. And Eva Binder was the one tasked to do those duties. And so we were actually just trying to help her get compensation for doing that additional work. Instead of doing, all the overtime, the 10% additional duty stipend was actually more economical for that purpose. So once again, I stand before you denying unequivocally that I actually tried to attempt to gain any money by going around Nancy Lane for her approval. So I would just leave you with that. I am a Stockton native and want to see SUSD win by all means. I would do nothing to tarnish our reputation as a district. Thank you.
The next speaker is DC Salazar regarding item 2.4.
Buenas tardes. Yo, Daisy Salazar, estoy presente hoy para presentar mis preocupaciones como padre y como trabajador del distrito. Este problema lo hemos estado soportando por más de 2 años y nadie me da una solución. Ya he hecho todo para solucionar y todo sigue igual. La señora Camelia Bernal agredió a mi hija, gritó y amenazó. Después mandó a su hija para pelear con la mía. Puso una queja en el distrito hablando mal de mí. Habla mal de mí y de mi hija durante las juntas de padres, durante las juntas de padres con director. Nadie le dice nada, nadie la para, se queja hasta por donde dejo a mi hija en la escuela por las mañanas. Porque mi hija mira feo supuestamente a su hija. Dice que mi hija tiene privilegios de comer en la oficina, cuando para todos sabemos comer en la oficina es un castigo.
Can you
Di-
please, Christina, give her a tissue, please? Thank you. Thank you.
De que yo miro a su hija, que no quiere que esté cerca de su hija. El director cambia mis tiempos, mis horarios, porque la señora no quiere que esté con su hija. Ella dice que nadie me quiere en esa escuela. ¿Por qué me trajeron para atrás de esa escuela? Que mi hija tiene la mejor maestra, que es la maestra que ella quería para su hija, que mi hija no debería estar con esa maestra porque su hija es mejor estudiante que la mía. Que por el hecho de yo trabajar ahí, están tratando con favoritismo a mi hija. La señora Camelia Bernal ha tomado fotografías de mi hija en la oficina sin mi autorización. Me ha grabado, me ha fotografiado en mi trabajo en la escuela con otros niños. También dice que es para enviárselas al director, al Mr. Van. Mr. Van dice que él no ha recibido nada. ¿Qué hace ella con esas fotografías? ¿A quién se las manda? También manda mensajes a los padres en privado, pidiéndoles diciéndoles cosas de mi hija, pidiéndoles que no dejen juntar a sus hijos con mi hija. Esta señora ha llegado a tal extremo de buscar los trabajos de algunos padres. Fue a hablar con una de ellas. Habló mal de mi hija con esa señora. Incluso le dijo, revisa las redes sociales de tu hijo porque tu hijo es gay. A ella no le interesa eso. Ese niño es amigo de mi hija. He hablado con el director. He hablado con la policía del distrito. He hecho una queja aquí en el distrito. Y nadie me responde nada. ¿Me podrían decir que están esperando que suceda algo, una tragedia, para que ustedes te estén tomando en serio esto? Este acoso que ya tengo 2 años. Camelia Bernal es voluntaria todavía en la escuela. Es miembro del School Site Council de esta escuela. Ahora acusó a personas de la oficina por no ser amigables. Está acusando a los miembros del PTSA de robarte el dinero. Les pido que no permitan que esta señora, por favor, siga yendo a la escuela. Necesito que no entre a la escuela por seguridad, no solo de mi hija, sino de todos los niños. Porque algunos niños han visto cuando ella me fotografía o me está grabando. Los niños saben el problema porque ella se ha tratado de comunicárselo a todos los padres. Creo en mi persona que es positivo tener voluntarios, pero voluntarios que sean positivos, no que no estén mentalmente estables. Por todo lo he dicho anteriormente, quiero que quede asentado hoy, aquí en esta junta, que voy a ser responsable de la escuela y al distrito, de hoy en adelante, de lo que le pase a mi hija y a mí, porque no veo ninguna solución. Nadie está haciendo nada. Mi niña tiene 11 años. ¿Es justo que un adulto le haga eso a un niño? ¿Que mi niña tenga que soportar 2 años? Lo último que puso ella en su Instagram, que si yo muero es por culpa de ella. ¿Qué está diciendo mi hija ahí? ¿Que teme que esta señora me haga algo? Tengo una persona que vio cuando jaló a mi hija. Esta persona me dio una carta y dice que ella quiere ser anónima. Tiene miedo de esta persona también. No quiere tener problemas con esta persona y que su hijo no tenga problemas con esta niña también. ¿Es justo que esta persona se siga presentando en la escuela? ¿Es una buena voluntaria? Ustedes díganme si eso está bien. ¿O cuánto más tengo que soportar? ¿O qué es lo que tengo que hacer? ¿Qué es el siguiente paso que tengo que hacer? ¿Llevar a todos a corte? ¿O qué es lo que tengo que hacer? Necesito una solución ya. Tengo estrés, no duermo bien, mi hija tampoco. ¿Qué es lo que necesito hacer?
My name is Daisy Salazar. I'm present today to present my concerns as a parent and also as a district employee. This problem is something we have been dealing with for over 2 years, and no one seems to give me a solution. I have done everything to solve this, but it remains the same. Miss Camelia Bernal insulted my daughter, yelled at her, and threatened her. Afterwards, she sent her own daughter to fight my daughter. Then she placed a complaint against me in the district. She talks bad about me and my daughter during the parents' meetings and also in a meetings that the principal has with the parents. And no one tells her anything. She has complained about where I drop off my daughter every morning, because according to her, my daughter looks at her daughter in a bad way. She tells others my daughter has a privilege to eat in the office and that also I look at her daughter and she does not want me near her daughter. She brings these complaints constantly to the principal, Mr. Van. He talks to me and then changes my schedule because of this woman, and she tells everyone that no one wants me in the school. She tells people my daughter has the best teacher, the one her daughter was supposed to have, and not my daughter, because her daughter is a better student than mine. And the fact that I work there, my daughter is treated with favoritism. Miss Camelia Bernal has taken pictures of my daughter without my consent. She has also taken pictures and videos of myself, according to her, to be sent to Mr. Van, complaining that I do not do my work, which is a lie. And the principal says that he never received anything. She also sends text messages to parents to talk about my daughter and tells them to not allow them to be friends with my daughter. Camelia Bernal has gone too far and to the extreme that she looks for parents' jobs locations to go there to tell them and talk about my child. And she told one of them that her child was gay and she needed to check his social media. And it happens that this kid is also my daughter's friend. I have spoken to the principal. I have made police reports with the district. I have placed a complaint in the district and no one has done anything. Can someone tell me what they're waiting for is for strategy to happen to actually take this in a serious matter? Camelia Bernal is a volunteer at the school, Henry, and she's there almost every day. And also is a member of the school site council. And now she's also has accused the ladies in the office of not being friendly. She has accused members also of taking money. What I'm asking for is for her to not be involved with school activities or allowed to be on campus for my daughter's safety. And not only hers, but also the students in this school. Because all the students know about the problem and they seen her taking pictures. I'm not against having volunteers, but in order to have them, I believe they need to be mentally stable. As of today, I want this to be noted. Based on what I have mentioned before, I make the school and the district responsible for not putting a stop to this person. And also, I make them responsible if something happens to me or my daughter because of all the harassment and bullying we have been taken from Ms. Camelia Bernal and her daughter.
Thank you. Item 1.4.
Excuse me, point of order. Can somebody go and talk to that parent? Please? And can something be done immediately, please? That principal, I would suggest having a meeting with that principal as soon as possible. Thank you.
Thank you. Item 1.4, Student Board Representative Report by Vanessa Morales of Franklin High School. Back to you, young lady. The microphone is yours.
Thank you. Hello, everyone. At Franklin High School, Franklin has currently the highest submissions per race to submit with 106 submissions and 87 completions. Franklin CTE students assisted in facilitating at the district CTE showcase for 8th graders. ELAC met on November 3rd, and they are getting consistent attendance from parents that want to be involved. The WASC chair visited our school, met with us, and got a tour of our school as well. Our 9th grade counseling team hosted a 9th grade honor roll ceremony where we celebrated over 140 students. Parents were very proud of their students and brought them flowers and other celebratory gifts. Counselors facilitated an A through G workshop at our November 9th parent coffee hour. It was well attended and parents had several questions and were appreciative of the information provided. Our PBIS team hosted a soup potluck on November 10th. There was a diverse sampling of soups for staff to taste and enjoy. Please join me in congratulating the Franklin High School Marching Yellow Jackets. We are coming home after representing Franklin High School with some hardware. Out of 10 groups in our division, we placed as follows. Our parade band was awarded with 3rd place. Our drum line was awarded with 2nd place, and our color guard came in 1st place. Leadership helped end football season on October 28th against Edison by celebrating senior athletes. We are holding a canned food drive through November 18th to help those in need as well. Leadership students will attend an in-house leadership retreat this week to help with team building and collaborating to plan more exciting events for the second half of the school year. Plus is holding student-led forums to promote students' voice. Planning a student panel, and as well as they are planning a student panel to address their climate, culture, and safety. At Stagg High School, on Wednesday, November 9th, Stagg hosted a successful fall festival during the lunchtime. The fall festival raised a lot of money for the school clubs. Stagg Counseling hosted a parent coffee hour to explain graduation requirements, as well as the FAFSA registration, individual academic status, and other parent concerns. On Thursday, November 10th, Stagg teachers hosted academic conferences with parents to discuss student progress amongst the students' classes. Stagg Band was the opening and closing act at the Stockton Kings home opener for this season. Stagg Band played as fans entered the arena and after the game as fans exited the building. Numerous compliments were given to Stagg faculty regarding how well the bands sound. Stagg FFA Agriculture Pathway is enjoying having livestock brought to campus to help with instruction and understanding of working on a farm or a ranch. Counselors will be reviewing with the students enrolled in US history and government econ courses and the results of taking a career exploration exam. During the first week of December, STAG will host its 64th annual STAG Delta Kings men's basketball tournament. At Chavez High School, Chavez students visited the San Joaquin Delta College to learn more about the process to transition into their program offerings. They met with over 20 programs and services, as well as automotive, drama, biology, and computer science, along with multimedia. Their CTE programming shined at the district CTE showcase as well. Chavez continues to work as a team to identify their strengths and areas of growth as they complete the WASC self-study. Their teachers discussed about belonging and what that looks like at Chavez. They focused on how their students see themselves in their spaces. Their fall sports programming will have their opening game at Chavez with boys soccer versus Lodi on Friday. Chavez welcomes you to join them for their night out this Thursday. It will be a fun night of gaming, laser tag, and fellowship. Chavez Drama Club put on a wonderful production of Almost Maine, and the Mariachi at Chavez will be holding a fundraiser at the Mexican Heritage Center. At Edison High School, Edison hosted a successful Halloween dance and haunted house event. Dance students performed at lunch, demonstrating their amazing skills they have learned in their dance class this year. The drama department hosted its annual haunted house at lunch and after school with hundreds of student participants. Edison counselors are hosting a FAFSA workshop tonight for students and parents to assist in completing the FAFSA process for college. Students have engaged in advisory classes recently at Edison High School, including topics of college and career planning, growth mindset, PBIS, anti-bullying, and cello completion. Congratulations to the Edison High School varsity football team, who won its 5th straight San SJAA title. On November 10th, 50 Edison students took the ASVAB test. On November 10th as well, Edison hosted a Hamilton elementary teachers visiting classrooms to be trained in classroom management and instructional strategies training. Edison has began its equitable grading workshops, inviting Edison teachers and regional elementary schools to engage in developing student-friendly and equitable grading practices focused on student learning. Thank you. That is all that I have today.
Thank you so much for the update. Now we have 1.5 student honorary, Ms. Nayeli Cardo, Jen Frederick High School, and I'm going to call in the principal, Ryan Hesse, principal of Jen Frederick, to the podium to the microphone. Come. Welcome, sir.
Good evening, Stockton Unified Board Trustees. Good evening, Superintendent Dr. Miller. My name is Ryan Hesse. I am the principal of Jane Frederick High School. It is my pleasure to introduce your student honoree tonight. She is a senior on track to graduate. She is a part of our Fantastic Plus team that just put on a successful fall festival. Every day, she brings a kind smile and positive energy to Jane Frederick. She's very excited to talk to you this evening. Please welcome Miss Nayeli Cardona.
Good evening. My name is Nayeli Cardona. I am a 12th grader at Jane Frederick High School. I was born and raised here in Stockton, California. I'm the oldest of 3 kids, and as a kid, all I would think of and dream of was my graduation, what it would look like, where it would be, how it would be. But what I have also come to hope for as I've gotten older is attending UCLA in their creative writing program. Unfortunately, I lost sight of my dream, and when I thought all was lost, Jane Frederick stepped up to help me recover the credits I was missing and desperately needed in order to graduate. At first glance, Jane Frederick seemed to me incredibly strict, but I've come to see that the rules help us students grow and evolve. Because even when we stumble here at Jane Frederick, we have the support of not only our peers, but the staff as well. It reminds me of a tight-knit family. Thanks to the support of all our staff and one teacher in specific that really helped ignite my passion to write. Thank you, Mr. Lozoya, for helping me realize I want to write books and stories that spark imagination, like my favorite book, Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban, that made me hope and wish magic was real.
Need you to come up and get a certificate, please. Come on.
Yeah, come in with your principal and anybody who wants to go in, right there next to you. It's coming, the board member in the area. Angel and Flores to take a picture with you. Do we have any parents here present? Relatives, friends from school who like to join in a picture? Thank you, they're coming. Anybody else? They're waiting here for the picture. Come in, come in. They're coming. Thank you for coming and be part of this beautiful event right now, celebration. Okay.
Okay, just do 1, 2, 3. This is nice. And then I'm going to take one more on this. One, two, three. One more. 1, 2, 3. Congratulations.
Thank you. Now we go into 1.6, public employee discipline dismissal. Do we have anything in this item, sir? The Lepton?
No, Madam President, nothing for that item.
Thank you. 1.7 announcements, the board will consider in closed session. They will be listed by our Vice President Raymond Suneta. Back to you, sir.
Thank you, Madam President. The items that we are going to be considering in closed session are 2.1, public employee appointment certificated, 2.2, public employee appointment classified, 2.3, conference with labor negotiator, 2.4, public employee dismissal, discipline dismissal release, 2.5, conference with legal counsel existing litigation, 2.6, conference with legal counsel anticipated litigation, 2.7, student expulsions, and 2.8, public employee performance evaluation interim superintendent. Back to you, Madam President.
Thank you, Vice President Raymond Suleta. Thank you for the closed session. Then we go in. Now we're gonna recess to closed session. And I would like to ask, the student representing Vanessa, if you would like to stay, you can stay. But if you want to go home to go to your studies, we understand. Just let know Christina before you leave. If you can, we'll see you in an hour. Thank you. Good afternoon and welcome back to the board meeting. 4.1, play for adhesion of the flag led by Wendy De Simon, Intern Assistant Superintendente in Human Resources.
That we honored this last week with a holiday. Please stand. Ready, begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
Thank you. .2, announcements of action taken in closed session, if any, it will be by Vice President Raymond Suleta. Back to you, sir.
Thank you, Madam President, and good evening, everyone. The actions that were taken in closed session, quite a few, so just bear with me. First, there was a motion to approve public employee appointment certificated. The motion carries 5-2. The 2 no votes were trustees Flores and Maria Mendez. Next, we have a motion to approve public employee appointment classified. The motion carried 6-1 no. The 1 no vote was trustee Zulueta. Next up, we got a motion to ratify the probationary release of a classified employee. The motion carries 4-0-3. The 3 abstentions were trustees Flores, Zulueta, and Maria Mendez. Next, we have a motion to ratify the probationary release of a classified employee. Motion carries 6-0 and 1 absence. Trustee Maria Mendez was absent for the vote. Next, there is a motion to approve a resignation agreement with a classified employee. The motion carries 4-0-3. The 3 abstentions were trustees Flores, Maria Mendez, and trustee Rico. Next, a motion to ratify the resignation agreement with a classified employee. Motion carries 4-0-3 abstentions. The 3 abstentions were trustees Flores, Maria Mendez, and trustee Zulueta. Next, a motion to ratify the resignation agreement with another classified employee. Motion carries unanimously. Next, a motion to respond to the complaint in the E. Ramirez case. Motion carries 5-0-1. Trustee Avalar was absent and trustee Flores abstained. Next, there was a motion to respond to the complaint in the Baptist case. Motion carries 5-0-1. Trustee Avalar was absent. Trustee Flores abstained. Next, a motion to respond to the unfair practice charge of CSEA 821. Motion carries unanimously. Next, a motion to respond to the due process complaint in the Sanford case. Motion carries 6-0-1 abstention. Trustee Flores was the abstention. Next, a motion to reject the claim of Hugo Palma. Motion carries unanimously. Next, a motion to grant the application of Manuel Reynago to file a late claim and to reject the claim. Motion carries unanimously. That's all. Thank you, Madam President.
Thank you, Vice President Pensulera. Now we go on to the next one, 4.3, approval order of agenda. Back to you, Christina.
This is the opportunity for the Board of Trustees to make any changes to the order of the agenda. Otherwise, the order of the agenda will be as published. Back to you, Madam President.
Thank
Trustee
you.
Maria Mendez.
Maria Mendez, microphone is yours.
Thank you. I would like to motion to pull the some consent items and also some agenda items for their inaction. The following are 6.26, 6.32, 6.33, 14.1, 14.2, and 14.3. I need a second.
I'll second.
These ones are gonna be pulled or they're gonna be for
They're
discussion.
pulled out of the agenda. Trustee Flores second my motion. The reason is due to the fact that the maker of this agenda items is actually a current employee that is actually for another department. This employee was never brought forward. Their name was not brought forward to the board for the board approval for to be the acting director for facilities. This is wrong, as we have the board has received multiple letters from San Joaquin Office of Education, the FICMA report in Wested, and we're not following through. This is not acceptable from no staff at all. That's why I'm pulling it.
Good. Mrs. Joan Juarez, do you have anything to say about this?
I didn't know, does acting have to be brought to the board?
Yes, it does.
Trustee Flores?
Yeah, Mrs. Flores?
I would also like to pull item 9.1.
This one will be pulled or put it to action.
I want it pulled because I don't feel that there was enough community input or explanation to the community and the students on why we're having this. So I would like to pull it and put it on the next agenda for discussion. Just feel that community has a lot of questions and they want to know why, and I'm not totally against it, but I do need to know and have the community be heard as to why we're at this point.
Mr. Joanna Juarez, do you have any update in this and that item?
Would actually be Dr. Ramirez, and I
Uh,
think she's outside talking with the parent. Dr. Baird, do you have any information on the input? for this
9.1?
On 9.1, that's something that we had discussed and it has been vetted. Yulin, do you have any more information on that? Or because really that was something that was being driven by Dr. Ramirez as far as this piece, and I don't know if Lena Moa is in here.
Thank you, ma'am, for coming to the podium and discuss this.
Good evening. So I know that Dr. Ramirez had met with the Ed Services Directors a number of times in order to discuss the need to reduce the graduation requirements. I believe that's why Mr. Brian Biederman put the agenda item forward with Susanna Ramirez's approval. But the overarching concern is that the current requirements require 3 years of math and 3 years of science, and we are struggling to find the teachers. So to require students to meet a requirement that we can't meet because we can't provide the classes, I believe that was the overarching concern. But certainly Dr. Ramirez can provide more information. I was not part of all of those meetings.
Who was part of those meetings, if you mind?
The Ed Services Directors, I know Student Services, Counseling was part of those along with Dr. Ramirez.
So this is just the first reading, Trustee Flores. So that's why, and then when we go further, then I'm sure that there'll be more included. This is just the conversation.
I get it. And I'm not speaking against you guys. I know you guys do a lot of work, and I know that this prior leadership put a lot of work into making sure that we did meet the A through G requirements. And I know that a lot across the nation, wherever I went, like we were looked at for making that happen.
Right.
And so now to pull it back is, and I get it. We moved really fast. I'm going to give you guys the benefit and the work. We pushed it through really fast, but at the same time, just as we did that, we had a lot of community input, a lot of organizations, and a lot of student input. And so I just feel like if we're going to pull it back, let's at least let them know again, like, hold on, this is the reasons why. And I think if we just explain that to the community and our students, then it makes voting up here a lot easier. So good job, you guys. I get it. Okay, let's just be transparent.
Any other questions for me that maybe I can
Any
answer?
more questions? Do you sit down with some teachers and dialogue? Some teachers, they call me.
I don't know if the meetings that were held included teachers or not. I'm not.
The meetings
Sure.
that we've held so far have been student services, counseling, our program specialists. Some of you've been in, some of them, not all of them, but a curriculum as well.
I believe we do have STA in the room, so would they be able to confirm if you guys have been involved in any of this? You have? Can you? Go ahead, let's let Felice come up.
Thank you.
So to answer your question, today in our superintendent meeting with Dr. Ramirez, and that I brought it up also. And so she did say that it's going to be a first reading, and after this first reading, she'll be willing to sit down and meet with STA and talk to teachers about this that had concerns. But yes, teachers had brought the concern to me also.
What are the concerns?
Just as far as that we're pulling this away and this is hurting our students But in the brief conversation we had this morning with Dr. Ramirez was, we're looking at the staffing shortages. And the problem is not having enough teachers to provide the courses that are needed for this graduation. So I think there's bigger conversations to be had. We just haven't had them yet. Okay.
Thank you.
Madam President, I have a question,
Yes.
just about 14.1. Is it gonna stop or put any hold on the construction and process? Like that, the building for Primary Years Academy, they've been waiting on it a long time. And I don't want, their building to be stopped because of $24,000 if it's something that we can deal with. Is there someone that could speak to that?
Yeah, that will be a problem because the parents have been calling about the building. So anybody can talk about that?
Thomas, are you?
Evening trustees, Superintendent Miller. This was 14.1. This was a clerical error on the original change order. So this is for approval for the difference of that change order. And so clearly it was a copy error on the original.
If we don't approve this tonight, will it delay the finished construction of the site?
I believe this is work already done, and so it'd be for payment.
Okay, so it wouldn't prevent us from continuing or completing construction. It's just something that we got to deal with financially.
Right.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you for
Mr.
that
Aranda.
clarification.
Sir.
If you
I have
still
a
want to pull
question.
it, I'm okay with that, Maria. I just wanted to make sure I asked.
Yeah, because I mean, you were pulled and given in acting positions without board approval. And I know your expertise are under food services. These are different expertise and skills that sets that is actually needed by somebody else for planning and facilities. It is very vital. I mean, to me, it's very vital, especially when we're talking millions of dollars for Measure C. These are tax dollars from the taxpayers of Stocktonians. That's why I'm pulling it, because I need somebody that is actually going to be in the position with a skill set that is going to put the district without be liable with, is the right contracting, is they're doing the right thing, because you're split among the facilities, among all the other departments. And it's not fair to you either for all these duties, because this is a huge project. That's what I'm saying. Thank you.
I understand.
Can I say something?
Yeah.
He does have some experience in this from his previous position that he had at different districts. But we also have the consultants that are supporting both him and me and helping us through all these agenda items. We run them through all of them when we're even putting even before we bring it to the board, they're helping us a lot with all the items.
But due to respect, Ms. Juarez, if you guys were gonna give him that position, that title, you're reminding the board for approval. And the way our San Joaquin Office of Education is actually seeing things, because FICMAT is not leaving. CCE is coming in along with FICMAT. This is gonna give us more, some of the stuff that we're doing, if it's correct or not correct. And I just don't want you to be in that position that you did something wrong, especially when you're so focused on the food service department, which is a huge department as well. That's all I'm saying. It has nothing to do personally. It's just, I don't wanna then later on come back and say, for this board to say, oh, we have to let him go because he did something wrong. He was not there. Thank you.
Understood.
Before you leave, I wanted to tell you something. I did ask about you, a little bit of your references, and you do have some experience. I find out, I never knew before, and I'm glad that she brought it up. And to be honest, as board members, we're not attorneys, we're not construction companies, we are not even a teacher. Some of us, we don't have no teacher credentials either, but we are being appointed by the people. And I understand that you're working hard, and we need to get this ship moving. And I understand that the state or everybody's looking at us, but we hire very good consultants who are guiding you. So I would like to thank you for the hard work you're doing, and thank you for giving us the update about this item, because, we need to move on with our business. Thank you, sir, and thank you for coming to the podium.
Okay.
Trustee Rico?
Mrs. Rico?
Okay, Mr. Thomas, quick question for you. So if we pull in tonight the item 6.26, the inspection for Franklin High. So this is gonna affect the lab, the students who is attending the lab,
This particular
the
one,
welding lab.
yeah, this particular one is DSA required series of inspections that will happen throughout the project. And so this is approval for, let's see here. To ensure with Wallace and Cool, we do have on the Exhibit A, we do have the series of inspections for this project, which includes the compact fill inspection, reinforcement seal inspection. So just a series throughout the course of the project itself. Project's already approved. It's just having a DSA approved vendor who will run those inspections.
So can you ask the question that Trustee Mendez made at the beginning of this conversation? When she decided to pull those items, please?
So the 6.32 was work already done for Clark Pest Control during the course of the Tyler project. Subterranean infestation of termites was discovered. So the work has already been done. And this was back in May, I believe. And so this is just, they had to treat the soil to mitigate the colony spread. And so this is approval so we can pay that bill. And then 6.26, this again, DSA approved vendor to run the series of special inspections and testing throughout the course of the project, of the welding lab projects.
Trustee Forrest? And yet, sorry. Also, do we have do we have anybody present here for Franklin High? Mrs. Lottie, can you just come to the podium, please, and just let us know what can happen if we pull it tonight?
And thank you for coming to the podium. Thank you for being present today.
You're welcome. So if you pulled it, it would hurt kids who are in the welding program, and there's some that have completed like their second year, and we're very proud to help with the ribbon cutting and shared what their futures held with the welding experience that they were gaining at the school site.
Thank you, Ms. Lottie.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Do you reconsider, Maria?
No, I do not. I stand my grounds. Thank you.
You're welcome.
So that means we're not here for the students.
We voted to accept what Maria Mendez wants to pull, and also Mrs. Angela Flores.
Yeah, I want to speak to the Tyler work. I understand where Trustee Mendez, with due respect, where she's coming from when we have names on who brings items forward, because that's always a concern. But I just want to assure Trustee Mendez that I did visit Tyler's school, and the work in the school there is looking amazing. And have you had a chance to go take a look at it yet?
No, I haven't.
I would suggest going and taking a look at it, and it might be able to assure you a little bit more up here when we're making our votes for that. Because it's a beautiful school. Everything is new. It is. And I got a walk through of everything, and the kids and I'm jealous. I wish I was a kid or a teacher at that school right now. And I'm also jealous that our schools don't look as good at that on our side of town too, but it's new and everything is looking really good, and they're doing a lot of good work. There's a lot of ground in the back. There's room for growth. There's a lot of good things over there. So just rest assured a little bit, Maria Mendez, that there is good work being done over there. But I'm not going to take away from how you feel, because I totally relate to that.
Thank you. Now we're gonna be voting. Vice President, we'll be voting in the items. Items. It's going.
President Mendez, just for clarity, trustee Maria Mendez made a motion to pull 6 different items, and that was seconded by trustee Flores. And then I heard that trustee Flores made a motion to pull a different item. I hadn't heard a second to that one.
Maria Mendez will second that. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. So now there's 2 separate motions on the table. Unless the maker.
I'll
and
be the
seconder
maker and
motion-
I accept the amendment and I can include 9.1 with my original motion. Thank you.
And I accept.
Okay, so thank you. So that clarifies that there's now a motion on the floor to pull 7 different items. 6.6, 6.32, 6.33, 9.1, 14.1, 14.2, and 14.3.
But wait. But if we vote for them together as one, it's gonna prevent, maybe we need to vote for them separately. We might have to vote for them separately.
We already go to this, and we're gonna take it to the vote now. And if it pass, it pass. If it don't. Everybody who agrees, say aye. No. Everybody say. You wanna order, Mr.
My question is, I heard.
Can trustee McBrien please speak into his
That's how it
microphone?
was.
Please, we
Yeah.
can't hear trustee McBrien.
Mr. McBrien, can you use your microphone? Everybody needs to use the microphone when you guys are speaking. Thank you.
Again, correcting me. Thank you. I appreciate it, Ms. Mendez. My problem here is that we're voting on 7 different items, and I just heard Ms. Flores say, oh, we can't do that. We might need to do this individually. But what I hear us doing right now is voting on all 7, pulling them all.
So after clarification, I'd like to vote for 9.1 by itself. To
You will
pull,
have
I
to
mean,
make
I
a
want to vote,
different
I want to pull
motion.
it separate, yeah.
You had to make a motion. And
I'd
you
like to
have to-
motion to pull 9.1 as a separate item, aside from the items that trustee Mendez pulled.
I second it. She needs to accept it. Maria Mendez, you accept it?
Yes, that'll be a second motion.
Okay. We voting for which one, Mr. Solera, first?
6.26, 6.32, 6.3. Excuse me. The ones we're voting for first are 6.26, 6.32, 6.33, 14.1, 14.2, and 14.3.
Okay, so we're voting about this right now, and this, the motion is like that. Everybody who agrees, say aye.
Aye.
No.
Aye.
No. Those who say no, say no.
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 No. Lard, you say yes to
Motion
pull it?
passed.
My vote was yes.
4-3 to pull it. All those items are pulled now.
Can we please, for the
Yes.
record, clarify who voted no by name, please? Thank you.
President Mendez, Clerk Rico, and VP Zulueta all voted no.
Thank you.
Now, for pulling 9.1,
William, 9.1. See it, Mr. Escama, Brian? Okay. Now, everybody who agreed to pull 9.1, say aye.
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 Thank you. Uh, 5.1, oral suggestion, Christina will announce the number of public comments.
Thank you, Madam President. We currently have 13 public comments. The first 8 public comments are from Sylvia Cantu. She'll be speaking on items 6.32, 6.33, 14.1, 14.2, 14.3, 9.2, 10.4, and 10.5.
This is all the items that are been pulled. Then that means she got 3, then it's not. Come forward, thank you.
I didn't know you were calling. Before you time me, I'll read those during the non-agenda, the ones that were pulled. Okay, first up is 9.2. Approval of second reading for board policy, administrative regulation regarding credit cards. I have some questions. I notice on AR 3314.3, it says that there are 5 pages, but actually there are only, there's 1, 2, 3, 4 pages. Page 5 is blank. So I don't know about that. I did have a question where it says the following applies in regards to a credit card issued to an employee or trustee. It talks about that if an employee is caught with misuse of funds, it may lead to disciplinary action or termination of employment and possibly other legal consequences. Board members, you're not employees, so it doesn't mention what's going to happen to a board member if you violate that. I don't know. And then the other one, board policy 3314.3 only has 2 pages, not 5. It says page 1 of 5. And then it says return of credit card. A district employee who's no longer employed by the district shall return the credit card upon employment termination to the superintendent or designee no later than 5 days after termination. But nowhere does it stipulate what happens to a board member. When do they have to return their card? Do they keep it? I don't know. It's nothing's written on here. So that's why I wanted to talk about that since these 2 are on that. So my time is done on that one. Do I talk the other ones or you're gonna call other people? Oh, on the other ones? Okay, my other one, 10.4. I spoke 2 weeks on September 27th regarding 10.3 resolution on trustee. Are you starting my time over? Oh, thank you. I spoke on resolution 2229 regarding trustee Maria Mendez, her absence due to hardship on September 8th, 10.4 resolution 2230, trustee Angel Flores, other district business. And I notice on today's agenda that it's combined. We have 2 board members that are, I spoke of these too. We have board trustee Zachary Avalar did not attend a special board meeting on March 8th due to hardship. And then on a different date, we have board finds that trustee Elisa Rico did not attend the regular board meeting on August 9th. I guess we realized that a doctor's note does not supersede board bylaw 9250 or ed code 35120. My question is why isn't May 20th for Flores and Mendez on here or June 9th for Maria Mendez for them to get paid? Because I mentioned 5 dates and I noticed that they were excluded. I guess we don't want them to get paid. Like I said, that one, I did my speech 2 weeks ago. So on this one, it's interesting how it's combined and we're leaving off the same 2 people to get paid, but we already know how the vote's going to be. Okay, I'm done with that one. Okay, my next one. I didn't know I was going to be called on all these. Hold on. Oh, here we go. The next one is regarding 10.5, the grand jury. One of them says lack of detailed building and incomplete invoices for board review creates risk of paying for services not received. I received a complaint from Vice President Zuleta on September 2021, and it did not get settled until October 2022, and the firm was done in June. So how could we have a detailed report and saying that services, we're not paying for services not received? I don't know how that worked out. I also worry that the CBO mentioned on some of the grand jury, when they're talking about funding and the budget, when the CBO said that she didn't know that acting had to go to the board, how many other positions are there acting directors or we don't know about? That's kind of scary to me. Also, on October 26, 2001, it was approved by this board to reinstate an LCAP director. We currently do not have an LCAP director using ESSER funds. I worry about that. I mean, and not even being advertised either. But the point that you guys approved it was because LCAP director position is necessary to maintain efficient operation of the district and to maintain an effective workflow. So basically your grand jury report that you're saying that everything's good, how? You don't have an LCAP director this year. So I just wanted to talk about that regarding the grand jury and other that. And then my other ones will be on the non-agenda items because I wanted to talk about, oh, I missed one again, but that was it. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
The next public comment is from Laura Gonzalez. Ms. Gonzalez, did you still want to speak on your item? Okay. 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 So the next speaker then will be Ms. Sofia Colon.
Hello, I'm speaking on item 9.1 that was just pulled. But I still want to stress that several years ago when this was discussed, implementing the A through G as a curriculum requirement for graduation, it was brought out by community. And I'll just share some of the stories. Was a family whose son had worked really hard throughout his high school, but he wasn't eligible to go to Sac State. And that's a story that's very common, where we tell our kids, work hard, get good grades, you're gonna go to college. And then when they go to apply, they find that they don't qualify. And so where do they end up? It's not where they wanted to be, I'll tell you that. So thank you for pulling the item because it really needs to be discussed further. We need to know why. As a community, we need to know why are we bringing this out now? What are the data that you're using to say that we want to have 90 credits for electives? That just seemed so skewed to me, but where's the data on it? Let's talk about it as a community. And I'll have you know, several years ago when we did talk about it, it took months. We had community input from parents, from students, stakeholders in the community. We met together, we met as large groups, and then we discussed it with the board. So it took some time for us to actually state our claim and why we wanted to have an A through G requirement. I think the same should be if we're going to pull back, because we're telling our students, you know, never mind the promise that we made to you, we're going to pull back. I do understand there's a teacher shortage. That's a different conversation that should be had. Why are we having our students suffer more because of something? They shouldn't have to suffer for that. They want to go to college. They want to go to UCs. They want to go to CSUs. And this is what's going to get them there. Do all of them want to go to college? Maybe not. But why are we limiting their choices? Let's give them all the opportunities and let them choose where they want to go. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next public comment is from Paolo Enriquez. Regarding item 10.5.
Through filings on the California Secretary of State website, the grand jury uncovered, quote, a trustee was named as an officer of a local nonprofit board located at 303 Olympic Circle, Stockton, an address cited as a base of operation in the El Concilio proposal. 303 Olympic Circle is the principal address for the Stockton Kids Club. The secretary for the Stockton Kids Club is Zachary Avlar. Finding F 2.1 stated that the board has shown disregard for board bylaw 9270 conflict of interest. Board bylaw 9270 is clear. A board member shall abstain from any official action in which his/her private or personal interests may conflict with his/her official duties. Trustee Avalar should have disclosed his ties to Stockton Kids Club as a conflict of interest during deliberations involving the El Concilio proposal and recused himself. He did neither. The grand jury report will loom large over the district as long as the board's approach to the problems identified in the investigation continues to be outright denial. To be clear, I don't think Trustee Avalar is a bad guy, but there was a violation of Board Bylaw 9270, and there should be an acknowledgement of that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next public comment is from Anthony Leva regarding item 2.8.
Hello, good evening, everyone. I'm here to tell you maybe just a little bit of a story. I'm a lifelong Stockton resident, worked here, was raised here, worked here, raised my family here. All my kids went to SUSD schools, all of them graduated SUSD. I'm very proud of that. But what I'm not proud of is what I discovered on an article posted in 209 Times about my family, which made me very upset. My daughter came home upset of how it was in the lines of being bullied. It was about in the lines of being harassed. And maybe I'm not the richest man in the world and I have my problems, and sometimes your problems flow into your children. You can't help that, you raise your children and your circumstance affects them. But I'm here not for myself, but for my daughter, who she's worked very hard. She graduated, she went to Delta, she was student body president. She's worked very hard. Her interest is to give back to the community and to be engaged and to help Stockton a better place. My home, my family's home. I'm sure a lot of your family's homes. Only to come to find, and I never read it before, 209 Times. An article in 209 Times that bullied and said negative comments and derogatory about my family. And I asked, is this the direction that we want to go? Is this the road that we take? And might I understand that 209 Times is funded by the SUSD, which is taxpayer dollars. There's something I don't understand and I don't appreciate it, and forgive my vernacular, okay? Or maybe I'm coming off a little brash, but this was my home and where I want to raise my family. And then I come to find that my daughter, who wants to give back to the community that I've lived and worked very hard for 36 years and labored my whole work career in Stockton. And my daughter wants to give back to that community and is bullied by an article posted in 209 Times in his very own town, her very own district. Is this the direction that we ought to go? I want to stop, and I'm not asking. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Mr. Leva, we need more fathers like you to come up to this podium and have the courage that you have today. Thank you for standing and speaking up.
President Mendez?
Yes.
After the speaker started, I heard that he was speaking on item 2.8 and that the public comment for closed session items had already passed. The public can speak on non-agenda items, or the board can allow the speaker to speak at this time.
Dr. Lipton, with all due respect, we just heard this father plead
Yes, I
for his
did.
daughter.
He
He's, now let's move on.
He already spoke up. He's right. He was 2.8, but I let him.
And we
speak up.
didn't ask you for advice at that time. Thank you.
The reason I brought
Order, please.
President
you.
Mendez, the
Yes.
reason I brought it up at this point is I was just handed there's two other cards also for 2.8. So there's now the issue for the board to decide how to
Two
handle
more
it.
cars with a 2.8.
Let's let him speak.
Let him speak, Mr. Lepton. Let him speak. Thank
Very
you.
good.
Thank you for following.
Sure, thank you.
The next public comment is from Alyssa Leva regarding item 2.8.
So I moved this to 2.8 because I'm addressing the performance review of Tracy Miller, but I guess I'll disclose it as a non-agenda item. I have now brought up harassment by your director, Motex Sanchez, on 3 separate occasions, 4 being today, about him harassing me and mentioning my family on 209 times. As an SUSD alumni, I was a plus leader, which led anti-bullying initiatives. So to me, it doesn't make sense that the district is permitting hypocrisy by permitting administrators to do what students would receive disciplinary action for. Your job is supposed to protect the students, families, and stakeholders of SUSD. And as a family member of SUSD students, I am hurt by this negligence and lack of action you have allowed him to bully me, minor David Sancte, your unions, and your transportation department. And when we let him be emboldened to abuse and manipulate the public, you are permitting the tarnishing of district reputation. So manipulators, they post little truth to justify whatever lie they say. Yeah, I was sued. I got hit and ran by a vehicle. Then unfortunately, during the pandemic, like a lot of people in this country, I was unemployed. So then they sued me and I didn't have 5K at the time. And it's true, I'm friends with Rudy, who did not rape somebody. So I don't know why the district is accusing me of rape shaming. And yes, I know Trustee Flores from when I used to be civically involved in a civil rights organization in high school. And that picture of me was when I was 19 years old, when she vouched for me to become president, where I successfully vouched for a now existing food pantry at Delta College. By not standing up to this is white exceptionalism, complacency. In situations of domestic abuse, we tell bystanders that silence breeds violence. And when addressing systemic abuse, silence is betrayal. I hope you choose the right side.
Thank you.
Alyssa.
The next public speaker is Mr. Harpreet Shima regarding item 10.5.
All right. It's going to be a hard one to follow up on, but in your original response to the grand jury findings, you quoted the district disagrees with this finding, and that was it. And the penal code that you cite states that if the respondent disagrees wholly or partially with this finding, in which case respondent shall specify the portion of the finding that is disputed and shall include an explanation of the reasons therefore. Just want to point out that we keep getting told that we don't need to find cheaper legal services because of the high quality of the services that we currently are receiving. Are we sure about that? Under finding F 1.7.3, SUSD departments do not have clear operational budgets, etc., states that for the 2022-2023 fiscal year, each school site and dependent throughout the district shall be assigned a business analyst from the district's business department to help assist with this reporting. You also say that district has clear and detailed operational budgets. So why is this additional person needed? And who is the person that brought up this person and got them hired? And what's exactly costing our county or the school district? Who's paying for it? And again, for the sake of transparency, we're getting a lot of comments up there about how the county is sending letters to the board. Can we see those? Trustee Zulueta, you posted a page 3 of a document titled Lack of Going Concern. We appreciate that you shared that one page. That was really helpful, but if you can post the rest of the document, that would be great. Or if you could put the rest of it into an agenda so we can all see it, we'd all really appreciate that. And then F 1.7.5, you state that the district continues to reduce expenditures that are deemed unnecessary while maintaining the district's primary focus on supporting the students. So I believe I've heard previously that our budget is actually doing well. So can the board or the CBO be open with families and the public about what is being deemed unnecessary and what is being defunded in our school district? There are only 2 explanations here. Either you voted to fund a lot of unnecessary BS and waste that you're now cutting back on, or now you've mismanaged your budget and now items that may not be absolutely necessary, but which are now relied upon in our schools and our classrooms are being cut. The public deserves to know what the specifics of what is being cut are, and how you're coming to those decisions. Thank you.
Thank you.
Madam President, this concludes the public comments.
Thank you, Christina. Six point one, approval consent items. Christina will read the oral announcements.
Does any trustee have any items they would like to remove for separate consideration as an action item? After any items are removed for separate consideration, there will be a vote on the consent items without any discussion. Back to you, Madam President.
Thank you. 6.2. We need to approve 6.1. Everybody who agrees, say aye. Aye.
Yeah, I would like to remove 6.28 for action.
Thank you. Everybody who agrees, say aye, and the items?
Aye.
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 You, no. Six point two, acceptance of donations to the Stock Unified School District. We need a first and a second.
I'll second.
Everybody who agrees, say aye.
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 We are going to 6. Okay, 6.28, approval agreement for student consultant services with speaker principal Baruti Kaili Kali Kafile Consulting. We need a first and a second.
Second for discussion.
I'll first.
We did first and second. Discussion?
Yeah, I just want an explanation exactly what, I mean, I read it, but just, did we get teacher support? Is this, I'm just weary of consultants, so.
Dr. Francine?
Yes, I'm gonna allow, this is for PBIS. So this is a very popular and respected author. So I'm gonna let the maker of the board agenda item come up, and also our PBIS coordinator, Ms. Dina Kobayashi, to go ahead and give you more insight.
I recognize you right there. You.
Yes, she has.
You. It's the straight hair. I'm used to the curly hair.
Thank you. Yes. So Principal Kafele, I saw him speak last year. I am the PBS coordinator for the district, and he is going to be focusing on climate and culture. And it really goes in line with our 3 district goals. So to decrease absenteeism, and then connectiveness. And so I think it would be great. I do monthly meetings. My monthly meetings for PBIS are open to anybody. I share this, it's a Zoom, so he'll be doing Zoom, and it's open to anybody to come and listen to this. And I just felt that would be great to support our goals for our district this year.
Okay, that's all I needed.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you
Any
so
more
much.
questions before she goes from the podium? See, no, you got no more questions.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you
Let's
so
get ready
much.
for the vote. Everybody who agrees, say aye.
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 Aye. Any abstains? Motion pass unanimous. 6.9. Excuse me. 7.1, update on the SUSD comprehensive school plans by Marcus Amlin, Emergency Services School Safety Program Coordinator. The microphone is yours, sir. Thank you.
Good evening, trustees, Dr. Miller. All K-12s have submitted their comprehensive safety plans to the district office, and all K-12 schools have it available for viewing at the school site as well. And then also, I just want to take this time to thank you for bringing back the emergency services position and making it even stronger and keeping student and staff first in safety. Thank you.
Does anybody have any questions before he leaves the podium?
Trustee Rico. it's a
Trustee
comment.
Rico, microphone is yours.
I just wanted to say thank you for the presentation that you did at one of my sites. And you know, some parents from Henry asked for the same presentation on on their side. So hopefully can happen soon. Thank you so much.
Yeah, you're welcome. Thank you.
Trustee Flores?
Trustee Flores, microphone yours.
You already know. I've been asking, I think this is probably the third board meeting that I've been asking. And I haven't seen any emails, I haven't seen any responses. And I believe I asked before any of the other school sites asked.
Yes. Yeah,
And
so the
so-
trainings are, so just prioritizing what I have to deal with on the desk. Now I've been here 2.5 months. And so the trainings, I'm starting to build out the trainings now for, in fact, I just scheduled one at Edison. And I have another one coming up, but there's just been so many safety concerns, and I've been out just 3 sites today documenting a lot of the safety concerns they're having around their campuses. So yes, I definitely, it is a priority. The trainings are a priority, and we're rolling these out. They will be rolled out. So thank you.
Lots of love and respect for you, but I
appreciate
still want to
it.
see it done.
Yes,
Thank you.
absolutely. Thank you.
Thank you. Any more questions before he leaves the podium? This is the opportunity of everybody. No, thank you, sir, for coming today.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
We have 9.2 approval of second reading of board policy 3314.3 administrative regulation 3314.3 and exhibit 3314.3 district credit cards. I need a first and a second.
First.
Second. We have a first and a second. Discussion. Anybody wants to discuss? Maria Mendez, the microphone is yours.
So as one of our community members came and did a comment regarding this board policy regarding the board members, would it be possible for you guys to actually have and change and add the language to this board policy in the AR as well? Because when we term out or we say we're not getting reelected, it doesn't specify. So if we make that language be clear to with the credit cards as well, what are the consequences if we utilize wrong, like say by alcohol or by something else? Because we get it's taken away from us, correct? But it doesn't clarify that language within those documentations. If that language can be cleared in there, so then the public will actually know that there's also concept. It gets taken away because it has happened before.
I can update it and include the board member, employees and board members. I can
Thank
change
you.
the adjustment.
Thank you. Any more comments about this item? And none, let's get ready for the vote. Everybody who agrees, say aye.
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 Aye. Any noes? Aye with Mrs. Juarez stated that she is going to add that language on there. Thank you. It's unanimous. Thank you. Now we go to 9.3. Approval of second reading on a revision of the board policy 3310, purchasing procedures. We need a first and a second.
I'll first.
We have a first and a second discussion. Here, no discussion. Let's get ready for the vote. Everybody who agrees, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any noes?
Abstain.
Abstains? 601. 10.1, board committee reports.
Change my vote, yes.
It's unanimous. Can Christina, can you reflect that? Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Now we have 10.1, board committee reports by Christina.
This is an opportunity to hear any reports from board committees, specifically regarding prior or upcoming committee meetings. There will be a 3-minute limit per report. The first report will be regarding the City of Stockton Parks and Recreation Committee by Vice President Raymond Zulueta.
Thank you, Christina, and good evening again, everyone. There's a couple events that are coming up over the next 6 weeks or so as we get into the Thanksgiving and then the rest of the holiday season and Christmas season. There's going to be a December reading challenge that goes throughout December all the way to January, and I'll make sure I bring a little bit more information on how to qualify for that at the next meeting. There is a December 3rd, 2022 Weber Point tree lighting event from 3 to 7 p.m. downtown. Our next Park and Rec meeting is going to be on the 21st of this month at 5:30. And then I'll most likely have a bunch more details about these other events that are happening at the same time. And then there's some holiday workshops that are going to be coming up the 12th and 13th, 14th and 15th of next month, one day at each place. So the 12th is Arnold Root from 5 to 8. The 13th is Stribley from 5 to 8. The 14th is Seaford from 5 to 8. And the 15th is Van Buskirk. And they'll be doing some holiday workshops for families and for children. And then there's some winter camps that they're hosting at Stribley and Arnold Rue Center. There's tennis that's going to be going from November 28th to the 1st of December from 5:30 to 7:30 p.m. in the evening. There's volleyball from December 5th through the 8th from 5:30 to 7 p.m. 5:30 to 7:30 p.m. And then there's basketball camps from the 12th of December through the 15th for our 1st through 8th graders that are interested in participating in some of the activities with sports and parks and recs. Thank you, Madam President, and thank you all.
The next committee is regarding the San Joaquin County School Boards Association Executive Committee by Vice President Raymond Zulueta.
Thank you again, and hello again, everyone. Our next CSBA meeting is going to be held, one second. It's usually held the third Wednesday, but let me double check. Actually, we haven't scheduled it, so I'll let you guys know when that next meeting is after Thanksgiving. It's going to be running kind of close, but it'll probably be the first and second week of December. We also have our annual education conference for CSBA that's coming up December 1st through the 3rd in San Diego. They're going to have probably a couple hundred workshops on different things that we can focus on and bring back to the district that we need to focus on as board members. And generally, we all have the opportunity to attend. So I look forward to bringing back some information from that as well. Thank you, Madam President, and thank you all.
The next committee is the 3x3 committee by President Cecilia Mendez.
Thank you. We're gonna be having our meeting in December the 12th, 6 p.m. And I would like very much for people to attend. This is the opportunity then 3 board members and 3 city councils that get together. And like we do a lot of work together, especially what we did recently. And they're very supportive of working with SUSD. Thank you. I hope I can see you there.
Lastly, we have the 1852 Foundation Committee by Trustee Scott McBrien.
Hello, yes, and we were scheduled for a meeting in December. I don't believe I have received confirmation of the time or date on that as of yet. If that has come in, Abby, or has anybody seen a date on that? I do know that we were waiting for that to be set. And then we hope to see some of you all there.
Yes, I just got the information, Mr. Scott Bryan. That will be December the 9th, 1852. And we're going to discuss a lot of good things in there. And I hope that many members of the community will come in and sit down with us in 1852. It will be very nice. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Now we go to 10:02, the 10.2 brief reports for trustee activities. That will go Christina, would read the oral announcements.
This is the opportunity for each trustee to make a brief announcement or to give a brief report on their own recent activities at the district pursuant to the Brown Act, Government Code Section 54954.2A3. There will be a 3-minute limit per report.
Trustee Maria Mendez.
Good evening, everyone, and thank you for joining us this evening to our meeting. I want to be very grateful and have gratitude to a lot of the organizations that had adopted Washington Elementary School. So from that last board meeting, the actual week, the students receive so many things, so many items, which started Monday. Then it went on Wednesday and everything else. So on Wednesday, they received actually pumpkins. There were free pumpkins. They from Manteca, an actual organization donated 4 huge bins. So every single student received an actual pumpkin to take home, and they were some extras as well. So on Thursday, we did like a little mini field trip to the community center at Box Trucks, and every single student of Washington Elementary School District, they receive a brand new backpack with school supplies. Nobody was left out because we counted for how many they were and everything else. I am very grateful for every single organization. Even the petroleum has actually brought some more money towards the school for another whiteboard for another teacher. So those are the connections that we always want from our community, and they're not asking out nothing else from in return besides press release. It's like, give me some props, and that's it. The other thing that I want to bring up was, as I was going through social media, and somebody made mention, hey Maria, isn't it this month bullying? You know, anti-bullying and everything else for the students, so what the students supposed to do, blah, blah, blah. What about staff against staff bullying each other, or staff members bullying the community members on social media? It doesn't matter who you are. What are we doing about that? It's not about just the students. Us as adults, what are we doing? If it's November, anti-bullying month, what are we pledging? I mean, Dr. Miller brought in the purple line, and I guess they're not even obeying that. Dr. Miller, that's a shame. I am so sorry. You know, it's very shameful that we as adults and educators working for a district, that we educate students, we're mentors, doesn't matter, we're custodians, we're food services. I was an after-school program facilitator. I'm still under the sector of education. What are we doing if we're not demonstrating that type of leadership and mentorship towards each other and among the community? That's not welcoming the community at all. Thank you for coming. Stay safe, behave.
Thank you. Zachary Abelar.
Good afternoon, everyone. I was very impressed with the turnout and positive feedback from our CTE 8th grade showcase held on November 8th. The CTE showcase was for the 8th graders, so we could see what the high schools have to offer. And I'm also looking forward to the community conversation in my area next month. As I talk with parents and SUSD families, their number one concern is still school safety. I believe this district should invest in remote locks for the classroom doors or a door locking system for the teachers and staff so we can better monitor campus security. I've also been visiting schools from within my area, and I've been seeing great work, whereas the attendance rate has increased and it aligns with the district goals. I'd also like to bring up a concern. Back in 2006 and 2007, when residents of the city passed a major school bond for facility improvements, the former school board superintendents promised the sports coaches and coordinators that they could use the sports field at a fair and reasonable rate. But now it seems that it's so expensive, many of these sports organizations don't have the funds to use SUSD facilities. We need to remember these families are the ones who made the improvement bonds, and these are SUSD students. Thank you.
Thank you, Trustee Abelar. Now, I'm gonna speak up. Cecilia Mendez, Area 1. I have a invitation and I went to Taylor Elementary. They did some great job. It is a person who donated a lot of services and also some money to help out the school. Taylor Elementary is doing a good job. Mrs. Morales is a coordinator there in the school, and she bring many resources. I was able to talk to many of those people from the resources. I wanted to bring them to the board to give them a little recognition, but it was a lot of things in the agenda, so it's coming back to the board next time. And also Maria Mendez have another one, then we're gonna bring in to give them the recognition to the community. They do a lot of work, many parents who are here in SUSD. I was very happy in Taylor. Also, Dolores Huerta was invited. They have a great Halloween little things for the kids, sugar-free cookies, sugar-free candy. And also in San Joaquin, the parents did a fantastic job. I had to admit, when parents get together, they make a difference. Thank you so much. Back to you, Vice President Solera.
Hello again, and I'll try to keep this short. I just want to say congrats to our new principal at Montezuma, Ambry Alston. She's coming from El Dorado, which is in my area. I had the chance to go and visit El Dorado on Thursday, just to kind of see the community as they say goodbye to one of their leaders as she goes on to another area, and looks at her own leadership. The school site is really going to be missing her. There's a lot of tears and smiles, but it was really awesome to see just people within our district have an opportunity to grow and succeed. There was a community fair over at Hoover on Thursday. I didn't get the chance to make it. There's quite a bit of events last week. I got a chance to stop by on the 9th at the CTE fair at the fairgrounds, and it was really awesome just to see not only all of our teachers, but just to see our students, whether it be the ones in high school that were, just sharing the opportunities that would come, but also just sharing what they've had the opportunity to participate in, how excited they were with it, but also see the young students just looking at all the opportunities that they'll have to go into to participate with, seeing that the money that we're spending in CTE, that our students are excited about it and they're happy to be participating. This week I'm going to be spending some time just visiting the rest of my schools with all the different things that have been going on. It's just been a little slow, but we still got buildings going on or building happening at Madison, at PYA that they're waiting for to finish. And just the rest of our schools are just excited for the holiday season that's coming. So thank you all for being here tonight and have a good night.
Clerk Alicia Rico.
Good evening again, and thanks for attending this meeting today. So I'm gonna start saying thank you to Ms. Miller and Mrs. Omlin, Chief of the Safety, for the meeting with the community and parents, and we talk about safety. But I'm gonna start with a comment from a student on 6th grade. She said that there is good teachers and bad teachers. So I'm gonna start with the good ones. When a student have a good teacher, they always want to talk about this teacher. They say they're really good, they pay attention to me, they show me how to do the things. And it's really nice, it's really good to hear those students. And I wanna say the names of those teachers. She mentioned only 3. One is Mrs. Velasco, Mr. Valverde, and Mrs. Herrera. So how many teachers we have on one side? Many teachers. Also many students. And if we have 50 teachers, yes, say it like a sample, and only 10 are doing what they need to do, they showing what they really need to those students. They showing that they really care about those students. Those are the students who are gonna be up. It's the way that it is. Let's go be honest. The other is parents. I wanna talk about the parents, what parents say. They said, we need good teachers, more good teachers. a good principal. We need to allow we participate on workshops, events. And lately they not been allowed for one of those principals. They deserve better service on the office with the front staff. Also, the same student mentioned that they have an ABI program, and this is the best program they can have at that site. Another issue they say about transportation. They parent make a comment that they've been trying to participate and help the crossing the students in the morning and the afternoon. But because they can be fingerprint. They say they don't have papers, so they not citizens, so they not residents. They can be served. They can be. So we know it's a lie. And there's so many things going on on my side. And especially if you guys remember at the beginning of the meeting, this parent was from one of my schools. I be trying to be help.
Time, Trustee Rico.
Oh, I'm sorry. Thank you.
Thank you. Escamba, Brian?
Well, I've been very busy, in part because my wife went away again on another Native American excursion. Actually with my daughters and my granddaughters and others, Native American women on drums. Now, if y'all know, women can't get up and on drums at a powwow like men can. It's just not accepted. So they have to have their own place to go and their own place to drum. Seems odd to me because women have been drumming forever. That's how they'd call the men in their tribes. But it's really a great thing to see. It's not a great thing to experience as a husband that does not get to go. I had to cook for myself and be alone a bit of that time. But they brought back some great skills. And I would like to make sure that if you are native or you know natives and you want to learn to drum and you're a woman, please avail yourself of this possible opportunity. It's great stuff. Also, happy Thanksgiving to you all. I know we've all been busy. This last week, I did also get to go to the ribbon cutting at the Arnold Bruce Center. They've installed an extremely nice parent resource center there. And of course, don't be afraid to use your schools. I understand that. But my daughter and I had the chance to go on over there and to use their facilities and to use some of the things they have. They got a phenomenal basketball court, ping pong tables, things kids like to see and do at those kinds of places. We have some wonderful things going on. Happy Thanksgiving to y'all. Have a good night.
Trustee Angelin Flores.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you again for sitting through another meeting with us. I'd like to brag a little bit about Jane Frederick tonight. Jane Frederick had an amazing Halloween fest where the plus students came out and did the whole little back area and fixed it up and had games, and it was lovely. It was nice. They had a Jenga and they were all really into it too. So that was super exciting. Not only did they do an awesome Halloween fest, they completed 3 big work benches and 5 preschool level benches. And they delivered them to Merlot for preschool students and for the Merlot high school students there. So big applause for them. They made them by hand. And thank you to Mr. Nate Neely. Nate, did I say his name right? I don't know why. There's somebody else I know by that name, so I always want to say that. Anyways, Nate, thank you, Nate, for contributing funds for that. And also I want to congratulate Jane Frederick for their student rep tonight. She did an amazing job, and it just goes to show that we don't always, students don't always make it at big schools, and there's a lot of stuff that they go through. And so having a fallback school like Jane Frederick and having that relationship with those schools, with that school site and the teachers, they're amazing there. And they really see the kids for who they are, not from where they come from, but they are able to support them during their struggles. I also am sad that we are losing Mr. Cowan over at Montezuma. Montezuma is Mr. Cowan is an amazing principal over there. He's here and I just want to let you know, Mr. Cowan, that and I want to use this as an example and I'll try to talk as quickly as I can. There was an incident during COVID where there was some bullying going on and they called me. I called Mr. Cowan, gave him some ideas and suggestions and let him know about the situation. He handled it immediately. Took my suggestions, went back to the staff, went back to the parents, and it never made it to the superintendent's office because we handled it right then and there. So to hear the situation that's happening over at Henry is very disappointing because it's something that should have happened, but it's something that should have taken place and taken care of within 24 to 48 hours. That phone call that I got from my parent at Montezuma, having a leader like Mr. Cowan, who stepped up and took care of the situation right away, that helps a lot. So please handle that. Thank you for letting me know that it's being handled, but 2 weeks is too long. To have a parent come up here and cry, that's disappointing. And to know that somebody up here contacted the other person to let them know that they were being spoken about so that that other person can come to this board meeting, that's disappointing too. We have to hold everybody accountable, even at our level, even at our level. Thank you.
Thank you. Now we go to 10.3, approval especially to our Stock Unified School District Board members and Superintendent to attend California School Board Association, CSBA, Coast to Coast Federal Advocacy trip to Washington, DC. This is one of the biggest one. When you go in and find out if it's grants, they open the door for everybody. But to be honest, I'm very excited about this for the new board members so they can learn and can participate. I need a first and a second to discuss this.
I'll first.
I second it. Alicia Rico second. Let's get to the discussion.
Discussion.
Yes, Maria Mendez?
Dr. Miller, is this gonna be beneficial? You guys gonna bring back to this district, or this district is just gonna spend $21,000, just full blown?
Mrs. Miller?
So in the past, when I've sent folks to conferences, there is a bringing back and sharing that information, best practices. And so that is something that we'd be happy to share out with folks when we come back.
Yeah, because this one is to coast. It's separate from the actual annual CSBA, which is in San Diego. The trade show. It's very, because I'm just very skeptical regarding the dollar amount and how frugal this district needs to be. If it's not really the beneficial that we're gonna get a lot of things back and it's gonna be useful for this district, we should not be spending this money, especially it's from general funds for $21,000. Thank you.
Thank you. There's no more discussions. Let's get ready to the vote. Everybody who agrees, say aye.
Aye. Aye.
Any abstains?
No.
We have a no. 6-1. 1 no. Now we go to 10.4, approval resolution 2250, resolution of trustee compensation for missed board meetings. I need a first and a second.
Second.
We have a first and a second. Let's get to the discussion. Who wants to have the microphone first?
Trustee
Maria
Martinez,
Mendez.
thank you. Why was this resolution not separated? Because there's 2 different dates, 2 different trustees and 1 resolution. Madam President, I know you put this together. How come it's one?
There is my name there, but I did not put it together. It was put in advice with all of us. Mrs. Miller?
Yeah, it was under advisement that they be grouped together.
Thank you, Dr. Miller. I know that we're the 7 board members that your bosses, and I know you were directed. This is not acceptable, and hopefully Dr. Toy Brown from San Joaquin Office of Education and Figman look at this stuff.
It was nothing wrong, Maria. Everything is fine.
It
We
should
don't
have
do-
been two separate board agenda items, two separate.
Mrs. Joanna,
Thank you.
Mrs. Joanna Juarez.
I thought you did financials. You do this too?
No, she didn't. I'm just asking her a question.
How would she know about this? That's the wrong person. Why are you directing it towards her? It's not under her job
Yes, I
description.
asked a question and she can help out.
But it's not in her job description. Why is she gonna answer a question on an
Who
item
will
that
be
has
the
nothing to
person
do
who
with
will be
her?
answering this question, Mrs. Tracy Miller?
Well, it would be.
You please help me here.
Sure, it would be me, and it was under advisement that this is, how to list it,
Who advised you, Dr. Tracy Miller?
our legal counsel.
Dr. Lipton? Why is it different in this board meeting when it wasn't different and it was in two separate board agenda items in the last meeting?
Mr. Lepton?
President Mendez, I can mention that there's no requirement legally in law or in policy that solution be in a single resolution or be done in separate resolutions and separate board items. And I think this was just done for purposes of efficiency. And if the board wants to vote for part of the resolution, it certainly could do that. Could vote to amend the resolution, or it can vote to approve the resolution as is. But there's nothing improper about the way it was presented.
Thank you. Do you would like to have to change it?
Well,
do
I'm
that.
just noting that it is different according to who we are speaking about up here. So trustee Flores, it's a separate one. Trustee Mendez, it's a separate one. But for Avalar and Rico, it's all on one together. So per legal advice, please common sensely let us know why you chose to make two separate for us and and one for both of them. Help me make it make sense.
Trustee
Lepton?
Flores, I think the main difference in this resolution is that this was going back in time to pick up ones that were missed as opposed to ones that were.
Okay,
from the
again,
meeting.
mine's was back in May. So please don't use that. It's not making sense.
We already have the discussion. Do you want to move it? Do you
Just
wanna
point of
make a
record
motion?
that our legal counsel is unable to answer a question. Thank you.
He did answer you, trustee.
Did
Flores,
not
did not-
make sense.
Trustee Flores, the agenda has been.
Point of order, move on.
Thank you. Thank you for your advocacy in this. Okay, any more comments in this item? Any more discussion in this item?
Trustee Rico.
Trustee Rico, yes?
Okay, like trustee Flores always say, transparency, right? So when I contact with this question, I say, yes, go ahead. I have proof that I was sick. I had doctor's note. I was prescribed with antibiotics. So you guys want to take my money away? Go ahead. It's okay. I'm not gonna make a big deal for that. Thank you.
Thank you. Any more discussion is over the discussion? Let's get ready for the vote. Everybody who agrees, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
No.
Any abstains?
I'm gonna abstain.
No.
Any noes? Thank you. Now we go to 10.5, approval of district supplemental response to the report of the San Joaquin Grand Jury. We need a first and a second to discuss this.
Madam President, can we
Yes.
please clarify for the record for agenda item 10.4? Who
So-
was a nay, who abstained?
So there were 4 yeses. The 2 noes were trustees Flores and Maria Mendez, and the 1 abstention was trustee Zulueta.
Do you have it now in record?
Thank you, yes.
Thank you. Now we have the 10.4 approval of district supplemental district to report to the San Joaquin Grand Jury. I need a first and a second.
I'll first.
Second.
We have a first and a second.
Discussion.
Discussion, Maria Mendez, microphone first.
Who prepared this agenda item? Because it has nothing that says review, prepared, approved. And why are we sending a supplemental response to the grand jury for the case 0121?
Mr. Lepton,
For the point of record, please. Thank you.
thank you, Mr. Lepton.
President Mendez, the grand jury requested the supplemental responses. It's in response to a request.
Thank you, Mr. Lepton. It just requesting some stuff, and we are doing that. Thank
Did
you.
we all receive that request from them?
No, we did not. I did not receive no email, no mail by saying that we had a response at all and that this was coming forward, not even from our legal counsel.
The grand jury have the right to request anything they want from staff and for the district.
We're not denying that. What we're saying is that we did not receive a notification from them requesting the supplemental response.
Mr. Lepton? They just send it, what I know, they just send it and they want to supplement the stuff.
We can't just go off of what you said. We have to receive documentation in order to make a informed decision.
This is stuff that they requested from staff. It was nothing to do with us, it was a staff.
It has everything to do with us because we're the ones who are voting on this.
Would it be possible for that email or letter to be forwarded to the entire board tonight before this meeting ends? Because if it was emailed to any of the staff member of this district and you guys give it to the board legal counsel, somebody has to have it.
And
Otherwise,
obviously, if it's on the agenda, we're involved.
We need to respond. This is what they requested and we're doing the procedures that they wanted.
Dr. Lipton, do you have anything via email from the grand jury? Or who gave you this saying that we have to do this?
Mr. Lepton?
Trustee Mendez, I really don't recall. I think I got it from the superintendent's office, but I don't recall specifically.
If you can do the research and actually look for that, can you forward that email to the entire board or blind CC? So we won't, if we need to respond to you, we don't get a conflict of interest or violate the Brown Act. Thank you.
Yeah, that's the problem, that's all to protect us, all of us, for not having information, then for some reason, information that
Who worked on this response?
Mr. Lepton, respond, Mr. Miller?
So CBO Juarez and legal counsel.
So I'm going to exclude you from this, what I have to say next. Because they shouldn't have put you involved in this, to put your name on something like this. So with all due respect, this has nothing to do with my next response. We should never.
Her name's not even on it.
Okay, most of these responses say the district disagrees wholly with this finding. The board disagrees wholly with this finding. The district disagrees wholly with this finding. The district disagrees. The district disagrees. The district disagrees. I am part of this voting and I agree with everything that this grand jury investigation says. Everything. I speak for myself. And everything that I've seen up here firsthand for the last 2 years. And this is another spit in the face to our community, to our teachers, to our staff, to our students, and to our constituents. And please don't ever put my name on this response ever, because I am not in agreement with this.
Thank you for your comment. Legally, we have to respond to the grand jury for whatever little.
Go
detail they
ahead,
have.
Trustee Mendez, do what you have to do.
I have
You
to
are
do-
president. You are going to fall down with this ship when this goes down. Go ahead, Ms. President, madam. But my name will not be on it. That's what I'm
Please
saying.
don't say bad words. Don't say bad words.
Did not say bad words.
Let's get ready for the vote. Everybody who agrees, say aye. Aye. Any who abstain?
No.
Any noes?
Negative no.
Excuse me,
Thank you.
we're not freaking crazy.
Maria, don't
Trustee
say bad
Avalar,
words, Maria.
no. Trustee Avalar just stated that out loud,
Please,
and I'm actually want to make
order,
sure
please.
that
order.
this is not a Kardashian. This is business. This is business. and
Everybody
it's gonna
have to
be
do order,
history.
order,
History,
order.
how we respond, how we get
Let me conduct my
information.
business.
Thank you very
Order,
much.
Maria Mendez.
You don't have
Same
to order me
0.6,
at all
same
because I
0.6,
do have
approval
to
minutes for October
explain
25,
everything to our community.
2022 regular board meeting. I need a first and a second.
On this, you're already skipping to the next agenda item and we haven't even voted yet on this.
Voted
No, we
second.
didn't.
Yes, we did.
No, we didn't.
Yes, we did. Voted no, ma'am. Oh my God, you voted no. Oh my God, again. Oh my God. Oh,
Madam President, for the record, can we clarify? Who, we have an abstention from trustee Maria Mendez, a no vote from trustee Flores. Everyone else is a yay, is that correct?
yes, ma'am.
I had a no vote from trustee Maria Mendez. but
Yeah,
I
a
could-
no vote for Maria Mendez.
Okay, so 2 noes.
Yeah, 5 yeses, 2 nos.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Vice President. Thank you.
10.6, approval of minutes for October 25, 22 regular board meetings. I need a first and a second.
First,
I'll do the second.
We have first and a second. Any discussion about the board meetings? Who wants to have the microphone first? Seeing none, let's get ready for the vote. Everybody who agrees, say aye. Aye. Any abstains?
No.
Any noes?
no.
5-2. Now the next one that we have is 11.1 Superintendent Report, and I'm giving the microphone to Tracy Miller, Interim Superintendent of Stock Unified District. Thank you.
Good
Back to
evening.
you, madam.
Good evening. Just want to say that we are continuing to decrease our chronic absenteeism rates. We're seeing pretty great results there. And I don't think Nathan Haley is in here in the building, but want to give a shout out. I see there is some program specialist counselors. Again, the CTE showcase, there was over 1,600 eighth graders from all of the elementary schools that attended this event. It was a pretty amazing dream of Nathan's, I know, and Nicolette's to have this happen. And we're going to step it up a notch. Next year it was held over at the fairgrounds, that we're going to have an added component, not just of community partners, but of parents, and figure out a way how we can do pre-registration for them at that time, rather than waiting a few months, but get it done right then. And I do want to echo, we had a pretty powerful meeting over at Elmwood. Parents asked to meet with myself and some of our cabinet members. We had dozens of parents that showed up regarding what was working well, and solutions and goals of how we can improve. And we made a commitment to them that we would come back in February and see how we've met those goals. Also today, super proud of the work being done over in our language development department. We had probably 12, 13 parents working together with Dr. Gonzalez on our English learners master plan. So I'm looking forward to hearing about the outcome. And then lastly, we are encouraging our district office staff. Today was the last day doing a canned food drive for all of our children and families that we'll be using during Thanksgiving break. So I hope that you all spend, we've got 4 more days, and you get a nice break, and that you spend time for someone's counting them down there, the hours, right? And it's get to spend time with your family and loved ones. And just I would encourage all of us to spend a few minutes tomorrow morning just having a gratitude moment and thinking of your blessings, because we have much to be proud about and much to be thankful about. So thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Tracy Miller. Now we going 14.1 is pool, 14.2, 14.3. No. Now we have 12.1, approve Solution 3 Incorporated to provide professional developed products and services for all school site and district office administrators during the year of 2022 and 2023 school year. We need a first and a second.
Second.
We have a first and a second. Any discussion? Anybody is ready for a discussion? Seeing none, let's get ready for the vote. Everybody who agrees, say aye.
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 Aye. Any abstains?
Abstain.
Any noes? Six to zero, one abstention. Motion passed.
Trustee Flores is not in her chair, so she did not vote, is absent.
5-0, one abstention, and one floor is absent for the vote. Now we go 14.4, adopting a resolution number 2246, resolution to intend to dedicate the sidewalk pavement for John Adams Elementary School campus to City of Stockton. We need a first and a second.
Madam President, I'd like to make a motion for 14.4, 14.5, and 14.6. They all deal with dedicating either the sidewalks or fire hydrants.
I'll second that.
We have a first and a second.
Comment,
Yes, microphone is yours.
why are these agenda items back when they were at the last board meeting with different resolution numbers? They're back again. What is the difference?
So we had to bring it back because it's a three-step process. And the next step was after last week's board meeting, it said it was going to be on the following board meeting, but that one got moved. So we have to restart the process all over again.
Thank you.
And Mr. Arganda's name is on them again. Why? Especially 14.14.
He helped me with the resolution when we were redoing it. He's the one that noted to me that we had to bring it because the date was, since the board meeting was moved, that we have to now start the steps over again.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Here, no more discussion. Let's get ready for the vote. Everybody who agrees, say aye.
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 Aye. Any noes? Any noes or abstains?
Trustee Flores, they combined it 14.4, 14.5, and 14.6 together in the one motion. And that's what we're voting on.
Yes.
Maria,
No.
6-1, no Maria. Now we go 14.7, approval purchase order board reports for the month of September 22, 2022. I need a first and a second.
I'll first or second.
We got a first and a second already. Discussion. Anybody wants to discuss this item?
Yes.
Flores, microphone yours.
Okay, on page 5. Paid $1,274,276,000 to El Concilio. Is that the summer school program?
Who's gonna respond to this, Mrs. Miller?
Joanne?
Mrs. Joanna?
What page was it on?
That's on page 5.
So this is setting up the PO for it. It hasn't been paid yet.
But it's on the report as if we're paying it.
This is the PO report. This is when we open up POs to be purchase items. Like, so we have an item that's going to be used up.
So that's going to El Concilio?
Yes.
Are all of the other after-school programs receiving equivalently even amounts? No, huh? They're getting the most. Just want to point that out. Page 19.
Can
Trustee
you please,
Flores,
can you give them a
The-
moment? So.
ahead,
Francine can
Francine.
respond?
Trustee Flores, El Concilio doesn't have more schools than any of them. Right now, the one who has the most schools is
That's not my question.
YMCA. No, what I'm saying though is if they don't have enough school, they are now in parity. Before that was an issue. That's not an issue anymore.
But they're still receiving that much money.
Now, I can't, all I'm saying is with the number of schools that they have, now what they're setting up is probably what it's saying that they should, doesn't mean that they're going to get all of it.
Because that's saying that it's going to El Concilio. All of that whole amount is saying that it's going to El Concilio.
It's a PO, but it possibly, they don't have to use it all. It's just an
It-
amount
it-
for average.
It doesn't matter to me. That's the amount that I'm seeing.
So
So
that opens up, and when invoices come in, we pay against it and we would monitor it to see if, but I don't know if they're going to use it all. We would have to keep the track. But
So if that's the amount for that, again, my second question is it equivalently even across the other after-school programs?
I cannot, but Francine, do you have, is Mary Rogers in here? I'm,
Dr. Francine?
No, she's not. And this is something that I have to come back to you on.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, the next one is, I just want to make it public because it's on here and it's public for everybody else. If nobody else gone through it, seen it, we are paying our legal counsel $600,000 of unrestricted general funds. And there's some other Keenan. There's two more other things that I didn't take a note of, but I'll send those emails to you. But I just want to make a point of how much we're paying out and making sure that we are spending it equal across all the after-school programs, and we're not giving any special privilege due to any allyship to one organization over the other.
Thank you. Any more comments? Let's get ready for the vote. Everybody who agrees, say aye. Aye. Any abstains? Any noes?
No.
2 noes, 5-2.
Trustee Flores and Trustee Maria Mendez's noes.
Thank you. .8, adoption of resolution declaring futility on competitive bidding for procurement and transportation services for 2022-2023 and authorizing contract to supplement students' transportation services. We need a first and a second. I need a first and a second.
I'll first.
I will second. Let's get it for discussion. Discussion, Maria Mendez, microphone is yours.
So this states is actually competitive bidding. It's actually for one company. What happened to the other biddings, the RFPs? How come they're not a part of this? So we're bidding, we're having them bid on things, but it's actually just one company. Why is that?
Point of order, Trustee Maria Mendez. It's saying that we can't have bidding, futility of bidding. So we're going to award because we don't have other people to bid on this contract.
Any more questions?
Yes, I do.
Okay, have the microphone.
Who brought this company in? How do you guys know about this
Mrs.
company?
Tracy Miller?
so
Mr. Joanne?
Joanne and her team can answer that question.
can I have Nate come up?
So Nate, thank you. Come to the podium. Maria Mendez is going to ask you several questions.
Good evening.
How do you know about this company, Mr. Nate?
Well, what we know is we searched for companies to be interested in serving Stockton Unified and they declined us. This company, Journey, was a number I came across, so we contacted them. They're based in Whittier, California. However, the owner lives in Stockton and they have a small Stockton bus yard. And they have an affinity for Stockton Unified in the local area, so they said that they would provide us with a proposal to run supplemental van service for special ed. And at this point, we're looking at 2 to 5 vans. That's what the proposal is for the remainder of this school year only. Dr. Miller has given us express instructions to begin a process to look for more supplemental services from more companies, but Store would not return our phone calls. First Student wanted to fly people, wanted us to cover the cost of flying people from Los Angeles and putting them in hotel rooms. And the other two other companies, we no longer ask for their services. So that's where it stands right now.
Was this bargain and actually with the, or
Mrs. Miller?
transportation?
Yes, we actually met with them, had a lengthy meeting with them.
I mean, but the thing is, we're not, this district is not gonna get a per violation for getting a contract.
No,
I mean,
No, we had a meeting with them, with them, yeah, so we're good.
Thank you. Do any have any more questions or before he leaves?
I do. How many
Okay, sir.
students are they gonna be busing?
We're looking to start very incrementally with a couple of vans to provide trips that are very hard to provide with the yellow school buses, such as trips at the edge of the district or trips that require special seating, trips that might require a wheelchair, but it would be very time consuming for the other buses to go to. Also, vans can go into areas that our regular buses cannot, such as an apartment parking lot or a business parking lot. So they can do a much better curb to curb service to an address than a regular yellow school bus. So that's the kind of services we're looking for from Journey Transportation. They primarily provide veterans disabled services.
So how many routes is that? Because I know that
Well-
there's some routes that they're not being covered by SUSD, not even by First Student.
Yes, the quick answer to your question, or short answer, I should say, would be with 2 to 5 vans operating, they could be providing 2 to 3 trips per each van, both in the morning and in the afternoon. So you could be talking about it with starting, say, with 2 vans, that could be 4 to 6 trips in the morning and the same in the afternoon. So that would provide us with the flexibility of using our yellow special ed buses for up to 12 or up to say 8 to 10 to 12 more trips each morning and afternoon than we're providing currently.
So how many students are not being bused right now? Because I know that our district doesn't have the actual coverage of the routes. How many routes, how many students?
Well, if you had these vans are they're relatively small vans. They're all brand new. They're 5 years younger, 5 years older or less. They carry roughly 2 to 6 people, depending on the seating configuration. Their maximum capacity is 6. So you could take a multiple. Typically, they'd probably be carrying 2 or 3 per trip, times the number of trips that they do in the morning and the number of trips that they do in the afternoon. However, these trips would be trips that are hard to provide now, or we're not providing it all right now. And they will allow the yellow school buses to do shorter, tighter trips and have higher capacity and provide more efficient service than we are at this time.
Thank you.
My
Very interesting.
questions were not answered. How many students are not being picked up right now by SUSD or the routes? How
Oh,
many
I'm sorry, I
routes?
misunderstood
Thank
your
you.
question. Approximately on any given day, now, especially, we have 2/3 of our trips are special education, 1/3 are general education, which are the big buses. With the small buses, the trips we provide each day varies, but roughly speaking, because people are added and subtracted every single day to special ed trips. To give you a quick answer and an average answer, we are probably challenged to provide trips to 20 to 40 special ed students per each and every day. And that's a state mandated service. So that's what we're aiming to do with the van service, is to reduce that number dramatically.
Thank you. Any more questions? You
Not
have any
sa-
more
Not
questions?
satisfied, not completely honest. Thank you, though. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you. Very interesting.
I have a quick question for you.
Okay, Miss, yes, Alicia Rico. Shalicia Rico would like to ask you a question.
I'm sorry, did you call me back up?
Yes, I have a
Oh,
question
okay.
for you. So the driver is gonna be back check ground.
I'm sorry, what was your question?
They're gonna be check their background for the drivers who's gonna drive those vans.
Oh, yeah, no, this is a very legitimate company. They have to go through the same kind of process any company would go through, such as First Student, or we have First Student services, of course. And they have to go through the same kind of background checks and things. They're a fully legitimate company licensed by all the proper state and federal authorities.
Okay, thank you. I bring this question up because I've been receiving calls from parents from the previous company who was serving us, special with us special students. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Okay, now then the questions and everything has been discussed. Let's get ready for the vote. Everybody who agree on these items, say aye. Aye. Any noes? Abstains?
I'm gonna abstain, but can I get a report back? Can we, as a board, get a report back on how this company is working for us and like just seeing how it's going?
Thank you.
My vote is no.
Thank you. 5-1 to 1. Approval of purchase order for board report for the month of October 2022. We need a first and a second.
First.
Second.
We have first and a second discussion. Anybody have a discussion on this item? Here, no. Let's get ready for the vote. Everybody who agrees, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any noes?
No.
Any
No.
abstains? 5-2. .10, approval of AB 1200 financial public disclosure forms regarding contact tracing with the California School Employees Association and in his Stockton Chapter 821 CSE 821. We need a first and a second.
Second.
Anybody wants to discuss this item? Here none, let's get ready for the vote. Everybody who agrees, say aye.
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 Any abstains? Thank you. Unanimous. We going to 14.411 vendor payment report for the month of October 2022. We need a first and a second.
I'll first.
First and second. Any discussion in this item? Seeing none, let's get ready for the vote. Anybody who agrees, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any abstains? Any noes?
No.
No.
5-2. 15.1, student expulsions.
I make a motion to approve all the student expulsions, Madam President.
I will do second in that. Everybody get ready for the vote. Everybody who agrees, say aye.
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 Aye. Any noes? Unanimous. Now we have 16.6, and that will be also, oh, sorry, 16.1, sorry, oral suggestion comments for the community regarding non-agenda items, and that will be Christina.
Thank you, Madam President. Our first speaker will be Sylvia Cantu. She will be speaking on items 6.32, 6.33, 14.1, and 14.2.
And 14.3.
And 14.3.
Okay, I spoke 2 weeks ago on October 25th regarding some of the agenda items because on October 11th, the acting director, which was pulled for facilities and planning, was pulled. And then I spoke about how you can have someone who's on leave having his name, how come we can't put something else, and so on. But when someone questions something, it's not because we don't care about the kids or anything, it's because we care about the kids and we have to follow the law. But what was important that on October 26th, there was a resolution on 25th, effective October 26th. Whereas it is understood that Ed Code Section 17604 provides in part that no contract made pursuant to the delegation and authorization shall be valid or constitute an enforceable obligation against the district unless and until the same shall have been approved or ratified by the governing board. The approval or ratification to be evident by a motion of the board. It lists Dr. Tracy Miller, Joanne Juarez, Dr. Francine Baird, Wendy DeSimone, Susana Ramirez, Guillermo Gutierrez, Armando Orozco, Tony Lopez, but no acting director. So if you pass those, the ones that were pulled, they would not be valid. Those contracts would not be valid. So it does matter when it happens. Now, I know that right now, Dr. Francine Baird and Wendy DeSimone and Susanna Ramirez, and of course, the interim CBO, they're have okay to sign all contracts. So it could have been the CBO's name on that, but to have an acting director that wasn't hired and say that's okay, no, it's not. And there's a man, so I'm glad for the 4 board members that voted to pull that. That's great because it wouldn't have been valid. And then you wonder why you have 2 grand juries. It seems to me it's going to be mounting and mounting and mounting. Anyways, that was mine. Thank you.
Thank you.
The next public speaker is Dr. Christopher S. Anderson regarding bullying.
Good evening, Dr. Miller, trustees, and my SUSD colleagues. This is liberally taken from the presentation that we were making to our students last week. SUSD instituted purple lines at school sites to help strip away barriers to learning and connecting, barriers like bullying. What is bullying? Behavior that is intended to harm, done on purpose, and involves an imbalance of power. Involves a pattern of behavior repeated over time, over extreme or severe act. Bullying can be physical, gestures, electronic messages through texting, social media, or email, memes, written or drawn messages. What does discrimination mean? The act of treating some people worse than others. What does harassment mean? Behavior that threatens or upsets another person again and again. Bullying is a type of harassment. What does intimidation mean? Making someone scared or fearful because of threats. Who are some trusted staff you can report bullying to, harassment, discrimination, or intimidation to? A trusted staff member, administrator, constituent service director? I find it ironic that SUSD had teachers make this presentation to students when they themselves do nothing to curb bullying among their own leadership. Who are the trusted leaders that teachers and staff can turn to when they feel bullied? Certainly not many of our administrators, directors, or trustees who in fact blame the victims of these bullies instead of calling out these individuals' behaviors and reprimanding the perpetrators. This hypocrisy has led to a climate of mistrust across the district, causing many teachers and staff to remain silent, seek employment elsewhere, and disengage from activities. SUSD's reputation for not supporting their employees is also exasperated, attempts to bring new hires. Who wants to work for a district that flouts grand jury reports and turns their backs on those who ask for help? The time is now for the purple line to be drawn, and it starts here.
Thank you.
The next public speaker is Ms. Sylvia Cantu regarding the board.
She can speak, anybody can speak at this time for
It's a non-agenda item.
Yes.
Who questioned that?
Oh, I just could not hear Christina, what she said.
Okay. President Mendez was elected president on December 15, 2020. Under her presidency, on January 26, 21st, non-agenda items was moved toward the end before adjournment. On March 23rd, 21, approval to disband and eliminate 5 board subcommittees. One was curriculum and student outcome, English learner, safety and student conduct subcommittee, equity and diversity, naming the new construction. There was a motion by McBrien to not only amend this amendment, but to hold 2 meetings with the next 2 quarters to transition for staff to take over these committees. And since March 23rd, 2001, 0. On April 7th and on May 12th, on the 3x3 meeting held by Cecilia Mendez, Maria Mendez, and Raymond Zuleta, and 3 city board members. Environmental issues and opportunities for SUSD through AB 617 and TCC grant presentations by Jonathan Pruitt, Catholic Charities. And also, I do believe Christina Fugazi spoke on that, AB 617. And also spoke about the 3x3 on CARB and CERP. And still, this board voted no on June 30th, 21 and 7/27/21. And that has to do with the air, reducing air. And those were schools that were Hazleton, Marshall, Merlot, Roosevelt, Taft, Washington, and Victory. Then the board on April 27, 2001, approved to place a memorandum of some ceremonial resolutions at board trustees, yet no resolution on photo ops. Okay, you have a record of not one, not two, not three, but 4 superintendents. You also dismantled the Family Engagement and Department of Education Department. And according to the Assistant Superintendent of Ed Support Services, parents are afraid to come to the schools. It seems we're going backwards, not moving forward. On December 14, 2021, this board voted no edible schoolyard project at Taylor Leadership Academy. And guess what? No Public Safety Academy. Boom, that school's gone. Oh, and we had a Brown Act violation according to Troy Brown. You all had 2 San Joaquin County grand jury reports. You also have a FICMAT, that is a Fiscal Crisis Management Assistance Team. That was done by the county. And DLAC officers came on April 26, 2 former DLAC officers up here. And yet our DLAC officers came and attended and spoke for the purpose and intention of asking the board to please relocate Dr. Ramirez and to the LDO department, as they were an entire school year without a director. And of course, you passed the admin building that's not earthquake proof. So we can tell who's for the kids and who isn't for the kids. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next public speaker is Jennifer Kearns. Is Miss Jennifer Kearns here? Okay, next speaker is Omar Carvajal regarding the tutoring program.
Hello, my name is Omar, and I'll be reading. When I print it out. Okay. Hello, everyone. I hope everyone is having a great day. I will be giving a quick background about myself. My name is Omar, and I moved to Stockton in 2012. My goal when I get out of high school is to go to UC San Diego and do my astronomy major there. One of my favorite subjects in high school is math and astronomy, and math and English. I'm now doing school online, and growing up in Stockton, I really saw the lack of motivation for kids to keep studying. I've always had the mentality of changing things for the better. A few months ago in my sophomore year, I was struggling in chemistry, and my mom decided to eventually get a tutor, but we couldn't afford it since it was $80 an hour and it was just too much. So 2 days passed by and I thought, how can I increase the graduation rate and make tutoring affordable to everyone? This program will only be focused on math since the percentages define the subject of math challenging. So I came up with the idea of buying 34 laptops for each student and doing 2 hours per day, 3 days per week. And of course, having a teacher with me while tutoring 17 students and 17 students my assistant, both being split into 2 different Zoom meetings. Only $15 per hour, making it affordable to anyone. And I also thought if they stay with us for a school year, give them that laptop for free and buy them school needs like pencils, erasers, backpacks, and shoes. And I also might just add more later on. But for now, that's it. The reason why we won't be giving the laptops to the ones who leave is because it is only right if we give the laptop the other kid was using and give it to someone who needs it for tutoring. For now, we will only be tutoring 4th and 5th graders. As this program succeeds, we will eventually be moving on to 6th and 8th graders and possibly high school. For the next textbooks of each grade, we'll be making some arrangements, getting in contact with teachers, and at the end of the day, purchasing the books online. If I need to add more time into my day to study these books, my days are flexible since I do school online. This program will eventually help families financially, which will also help Stockton. If this passes, I will make sure every kid gets what they need and are well treated and the environment is friendly. I'll be passing my flyers to families that have kids in elementary. We will start off from there. If families, for some reason, think $15 an hour is a lot, then we will eventually lower the price, particularly to that family. The rest of the money that I'll be getting will be going for my university. And I really thought, why keep most of the money if it could end up being really boring? So I thought maybe I could try and split it in half and buy needs for homeless people as well. On my way home, the other day, I saw a homeless man in the street without any protective clothes for the rain. It was raining heavily, and I'm 100% sure that man was suffering from cold. Thank you.
Thank you.
May I make a comment?
You can.
Young man, you are an amazing young man. And I think everybody deserves to give you another applause for taking that initiative, for acknowledging that. But on another note, you have called out what I have been saying for years, and those who know me know that I've said this. 4th and 5th graders get lost. So you are hitting the targeted students, because as a district, we focus on K-3 and 6 and up, and 4th and 5th are caught in the middle and they miss a lot. And so you're gonna catch them. And so I'm gonna call you a fisherman today. Thank you.
Thank you. Do we have anybody else, Christina?
Yes, the next speaker is Dr. Angela Pascual.
To the superintendent, cabinet, and board members. Initially, I want to speak to my concerns about the 209 times, sharing multiple teachers' salaries and my belief to shame, intimidate, or silence teachers for their union activism. As I responded to numerous text messages and phone calls of concerns, I remembered a valuable lesson taught to me and that I have shared with my students for the past 26.5 years. What lesson can be learned and how is it a valuable lesson? As I pondered these questions, I realized that in a failed effort to shame, silence, and intimidate teachers, the social media site has shined a light on both a local and national educational concern, teacher compensation. While the site shared the salaries of teachers, what the site did not share is the amount included benefits and numerous activities outside of the contracted day. The site also did not share that I have worked as an educator for 26.5 years. The site did not share that teachers such as myself often have multiple credentials that can be traced to the Department of Education and advanced degrees such as a CLAD, an admin credential, 2 master's degrees, 1 in adolescent reading, and the other in educational reform, and a doctorate degree from the University of the Pacific. The site also did not share that teachers often work in after-school programs, summer sessions, and additional trainings, all in an effort to serve their students. And they are not compensated their daily rate, but a reduced hourly rate. The 209 Times site also failed to share that due to the ongoing guest teacher shortage, many teachers on a daily basis welcome additional students into their classrooms to ensure that students' educational needs are addressed. So to close, in recognition of today, which is Ruby Bridges Walk to School Day, a national call to end racism and bullying in all forms to include cyberbullying, I choose not to respond in anger or cease my advocacy for students and families of SUSD. Instead, I choose to thank said social media site for taking the time to post the salaries so we can continue to engage in constructive conversations regarding teacher compensation in an effort to retain the best teachers all over California, but most importantly, here in SUSD. Thank you.
Thank you. Do we have anybody else, Christina?
The last public speaker is Daniel Franco.
Good evening, esteemed trustee members. Good evening, Dr. Miller. I'm here to talk about the Purple Line Initiative, which probably comes as no surprise given the last few speakers. I spoke on this item a few months ago at a board meeting. I'm not sure if you recollect, Dr. Miller, but one of the issues I brought up was the issue of equity in enforcing this this code or this initiative. My concern is, and I believe this to be true, this is my own opinion, if it were found out today that the Instagram page SUSD Wolfpack was ran by an SUSD employee, that employee would be terminated immediately. My question is, why is it not the same for the owner and operator of 209 Times? When at first he attacked former SUSD students, okay, then CSEA, okay, not necessarily connected, not necessarily employed by SUSD. Then he went after teachers. who are employed by the district. I don't think it's fair or equitable for those teachers to be intimidated and harassed out of any type of political activity. I don't think it's okay for 209 Times to lie and say that they're doing so when they're supposed to be in the room instructing students. And I just think that at this point, this is becoming a liability for our district. I feel like any of those teachers could easily bring up a defamation or libel lawsuit and include SUSD in that lawsuit. So once again, I'm not sure who I need to address or who I need to ask, but once again, I'm just asking, is anybody going to address this issue in our district? Because it's gone beyond too far. I just want to thank Mr. Leyva and Alyssa for being, especially Mr. Leyva, for being a good parent and being brave and coming out here and speaking out and advocating on his daughter's behalf. I want to say that I agree with Trustee Maria Mendez. This is very embarrassing, and I don't think that I should have to be up here even saying this. And I want to thank Trustee Angel Ann Flores for her bravery too, and just standing in the face of just nonstop, relentless attacks from that social media page. And hey, anyone who says that we as a community need to do better, I know a real good place to start. Thank you.
Thank you.
Madam President, we have one more speaker, Ms. Felice Bryson Perez.
Thank you, Christina. We're not sure where my card got, but so to end for tonight, we stand here actually in solidarity for the students of SUSD, the teachers of STA, and our union brothers and sisters from CSCA. Our commitment to delivering the best possible education to the students in the safest and most inclusive environment is unwavering. We are committed to and desperately want to work with the school board administrators, parents that want to center the work of this body and this district on positive outcomes and learning conditions for the students we serve. We will continue to be their advocates regardless of efforts made to intimidate us. We could point fingers, but STA is about uplifting each other and our students and not tearing each other down. We are disappointed between the board and administration deciding to stay silent as its teachers and staffs were vilified in an effort to use this as a political pawns. Perhaps some people are afraid to show the students what standing up to bullies look like, but we are not. Despite suggestions online and otherwise, the teachers and staff of Stockton Unified are not the Ebonites of students. However, I recommend that those that do not know work hours, unions, or contract language to read and educate themselves. And if any of those agitators are here listening right now, we are not the enemy. We believe everyone in the community who wants to sit at the table in good faith needs to be involved. If we're going to get Stockton Unified on this course, we all want to be a part of it. We all need to set aside our egos and our pride to work collaboratively to find the solutions to the challenges this district faces. We have looming teacher, staffing shortages, students and staff who don't feel safe when they walk onto campuses. We ask everyone here, watching, listening, those in the future, that we join together in this effort. As educators, it's our calling. The parents of students understand it's their duty. And as the elected leaders of this community, it's your responsibility to do so. Thank you.
Thank you.
I have a question for legal
Christina?
counsel.
Christina, do we have anybody else?
That concludes public comments.
Thank you. This meeting is adjourned.
I have a question for legal counsel before you call the end of that meeting.
Really adjourn the meeting.
I called a question before you ended the meeting.
Can go ahead and
Trustees, if I can have
Dr.
trustee
Lipton, I'm
stay.
gonna ask you, everybody can get up and leave if you want, but I'm gonna ask our legal counsel, what is our liability if we were to receive lawsuits from all of those who we have sat here and allowed the bullying and defamation to occur to? Legal counsel? President Mendez already gave you permission to answer me.
Can you make a private meeting with him?
I'm doing this in public because this is public who this
Private
is
meeting,
affecting.
a private meeting.
Okay, let the record reflect that your president refused to give you an answer on what your rights were.
It's not refuse and you know
Trustees,
it.
please,
You need
please
to
do
sit
not
down with
leave.
him.
Trustees,
need to
please
sit down
stay.
with
I
him.
need
You-
signatures. Madam President, trustees, if you can please hang out for a little bit. I'm sorry, I need signatures.
Thank you.
Thank you.